Fitz, it's wonderful to see you. You have had such a passionate display of interest in a fairer deal for Jamaicans using our commercial bank. What is your view of this recent announcement by Prime Minister Holness that NCB is going to buy out NWC loans to the tune of 15 billion Jamaican dollars? What's your view?
Well, first of all, they have chosen to use selective tender. And the 4 companies that they choose to put on that list, 2 of them,
so they pick the companies.
They pick the companies that they are going to select from. 2 of those 4 companies automatically are disqualified by virtue of their capacity. They couldn't finance the magnitude of that amount needed. And so it left only NCB and BNS. Now, my understanding is that BNS would never lend without a government guarantee. So it automatically leaves NCB, who now agrees to provide the funds without government guarantee. But there's a bit of story behind that. Remember, they were talking about some little housing project over anywhere in Jamaica. We're talking about one of the 2 major utilities, in fact the foremost utility, the National Water Commission. No government, whether JLP or PNP, could ever afford a NWC to go under, because the implication to the society is without calculation.
Prime Minister, I am concerned with the whole management of this transaction. I know that no government could walk away from a water commission and allow it to collapse. No government could do that. It would be a public health catastrophe. So every lender to the water commission knows whether they have, and certainly NCB would know it, that whether they have an explicit guarantee or not, they have a rock solid guarantee, because we'll be exposing the country to cholera, any waterborne disease, if you were not treating, if you didn't have a functioning sole water and sewage utility. Given that that is the case, how do you explain paying at a minimum on the 10-year tranche a 5% premium, 400 million per year in additional interest to waive this guarantee, just on the short tranche, just on the 2028 tranche, just on the short tranche, 5% times 8 billion on the 2028 tranche is 8 billion. Just on that tranche alone, 400 million per year times 10, 4 billion on just the short tranche is the premium you're paying to say we don't give a guarantee, an explicit guarantee.
But tell me though, why wouldn't they have including sort of the pension funds, more than longer term money to use?
That is what is worrying, because it's a long-term financing arrangement. And that's what pension funds are for. Pension funds are unlike normal financial lending institutions.
Why wasn't the type of institution that is a repository of long-term funding in J dollars in the country, for example Sagicor, not invited to tender in this bond issue? The banking sector doesn't typically make large, long-term unsecured loans, and if they do, they will be priced accordingly.
So no pension fund was included?
No pension fund was included.
So the first problem is with the process. What about the terms themselves?
The terms is even more alarming. It's a 10.5 interest rate. As against, Bank of Jamaica have raised similar amounts on the market for 5.38. And the government has gone into an arrangement with NCB for 10.5% for the same money.
That's about $400 million a year, more than the return.
$4 billion is what the ratepayers are going to be paying extra
over a 10-year period.
Over a 10-year period. And it's very interesting too that the same institution, NCB, the chairman Lichin, who is a major shareholder of NCB, negotiates, or his entity on his behalf negotiate that with a government entity, the National Water Commission, whose chairman was his former employee recently.
So the executive director of the Economic Growth Council is the chairman of National Water Commission. The chairman of the Economic Growth Council is also the chairman and principal ultimate shareholder of NCB. So it's a transaction between NCB and the National Water Commission. But in one sphere, the chairman of the National Water Commission is employed to the Economic Growth Council, which is chaired by the chairman and owner of NCB. The chairman of the National Water Commission was in a conflict of interest situation.
So you would see this as some kind of insider advantage?
It has all the makings of an insider arrangement.
Has the government responded to this charge? That there is an insider arrangement?
They have denied it. It's a flimsy explanation that the Prime Minister gave. What is of note to it, Garnet? They put this select tender out with a window of only 4 days. The 6th of March it opens and it closes on the 10th of March. Which major lender would have any time to consider and organize?
Has anybody objected though? Anybody said that they would have liked a chance to participate?
Well, I understand that one of the major pension fund operators, which is Sagicor Group, which is the largest in the region, largest in the region, they were never included.
So, Spitz, let me ask you, let me put it straight. The Prime Minister announced near midnight these arrangements that on the face of it give a clear insider advantage to some key operatives. What is the objective the government has? Does it want to transfer money?
Whether it wants to, what they have done is in effect a transfer. And who is that money being transferred? It is being transferred from every single Water Commission customer. Every single person who pay a water bill in Jamaica are the persons that the government is taking these funds from and put it in the pockets of NCB and Mr. Michael Leaching's company. Much the same way that the same GLP members of parliament voted for the same financial institutions to take the monies from people's account and put it in their account in the amount of billions of dollars annually. So the first thing I think we need to do is have the Auditor General review that transaction to establish whether or not a better deal couldn't have been secured for the people of Jamaica. Because on the surface of it, not on the surface, on the basis of the information so far provided, they have not gotten a good deal.
So give me a picture that ties this thing together. We have commercial banks having a license to take money out of people's accounts at will and call it fees.
Yes.
We have a situation in which the government could have mitigated the cost of a loan by a government guarantee. It does not. And you say the effect of it is to double the interest rate, the effective interest rate it is paying. It forecloses the option to pension funds, which are always looking for a home. And it does so, you are telling us, at the expense of rate-paying customers.
Every single ratepayer throughout Jamaica.
What do you think the government is trying to do?
Well, you know, quite frankly, Garnet, I've based on the government's position with the banking fees, and based on what the government has done now with this bond offer with NCB, I'm convinced that the government is in the pocket of the bankers. And by the way, let me say, they are in the pocket of the bankers at the expense of every single work in Jamaica.
Let's see what happens. Thank you very much, Fitzjackson.
My pleasure.